Tourism in Africa, an industry that's beyond vital to the continent's functionality. Tourism is its lifeblood. Visitors from around the world travel to Africa with expectations attached to their trips. And what they find after they arrive is quite eye-opening. They see an industry that's constantly evolving, from the breadth of eco-friendly safaris, historically rich architecture, landmarks, and majestic legendary natural wonders, to the very best resorts, beaches, and restaurants. And perhaps most profoundly, visitors find a synergy between tourism and the millions of African citizens who work in it, dedicated to giving tourists a fun and transformative adventure that lasts a lifetime and indeed keeps people coming back again and again. Time for total immersion into Africa's most extraordinary industry. Time for Tourism Diaries. 56 million people, the number of tourists who visited Africa last year, a number that continues to grow year after year. Here's another number. $34 billion in revenue was generated by tourism. That number rises yearly too. The tourism industry in Africa and around the world is essentially one of demand and supply. In this case, demand is our inherent nature to explore beyond our horizons, to see where other people live and how they live. Africa holds amazing allure in that regard. 56 million tourist visitors bear that out. Tourism is also a business. In many parts of the continent, tourism is what powers prosperity. Over 9 million Africans earn their living in tourism. For those workers, industry vitality is just as vital as to the visitors they serve. Telling you about tourism is one thing. Showing you is even better. Let's go. North Africa, the part of the continent where exotic natural attractions, structures, and historic landmarks are plentiful. And in North Africa is the most visited tourist country, Morocco. Over 10.5 million people toured Morocco last year. It is a country built for cultural immersion. Political government stability has been the key component to Morocco's steady tourism growth. The infrastructure allows for easy access to the country, and once you're here, so much to see and do. To visit Morocco is to become part of its culture.
That's the most amazing part about being here, I think, is that sense of community, the sense of feeling like you belong to everyone that's part of the town.
His name, can you tell them your name?
I'm Samad.
I'm Samad, my name is Samad.
I'm Samad, inshallah, from another mother.
Yeah, inshallah, way to go.
The next leg in North Africa is Egypt. There is a general assumption that Egypt is part of the Middle East. Consider that assumption officially dispelled. Egypt is a cradle of history. The pyramids, the ruins, civilization was developed here. The epitome of Egypt's historic impact is most reflected by the pyramids of Giza. It is one of the world's oldest tourist attractions, over 5,000 years old. Tourists spent $7.5 billion in Egypt and got their money's worth and then some. There are sites of cultural and architectural significance all over Africa. In North Africa, Moroccan structures are ornate and colorful. And in Ethiopia, there are sacred churches, including one called the Roof of Africa. To get up there, you have to navigate a narrow passageway. But once you get through the eye of the needle, you're witnessing a mind-blowing experience, indeed. We're now in Tunisia, the third biggest tourist spot on the continent. Tunisia epitomizes the state of tourism in Africa. It's a country driven by the industry. Nearly 500,000 people in Tunisia make their living in tourism. 7% of Tunisia's gross national product is generated from the industry, and the focus is on resorts, beaches, and culture. The Bardo Museum on one end of the spectrum, and luxuration on the other. Overall, touring North Africa gives you a sense of history, vibrancy, and cultural significance, an all-encompassing experience indeed. But North Africa is just the tip of the tourist iceberg.